A local animal Humane Society has taken in over 70 cats and kittens after a report from a concerned neighbor in Sibley County. The nonprofit found dozens of cats in a decaying building amidst piles of trash and no access to clean water despite the high temperatures. Staff had to remove cats from the property using protective equipment. Many of the animals were malnourished, wounded, or sick with respiratory infections. The nonprofit says it's important to know that there are shelters that can take in animals which can no longer be cared for.
We're really fortunate and always happy to help. But of course, our ideal is to prevent this from happening in the first place. So spay, neuter your pets, vaccinate your pets.
Cats are being kept in the Humane Society's Golden Valley location. Some may be open to adoption depending on their condition and how socialized they are, but others may have to be put down.